9 minutes after 9. Oh, I said I wouldn't say the time, Brian, but I did. Brian McMillan, morning.
I always like to know what time it is, David.
Let me I'll start off with my apology for being rude to you last week before I forget.
No apology necessary.
I don't even know what I did, honestly.
Love means never having to say you're sorry, right?
Yeah, love. On this National Oompa Oompa Day. Isn't that what Pierre was saying? It's
something like that.
This is, by the way, it is National NMO Awareness Month. Matt Morton, you know what NMO is?
No, I'm still wondering. When I was driving in, I heard that you were in your golf shoes, and I can't confirm or deny that yet. So that's where my mind is at this moment. So I don't know, David.
Well, we're going to find out. And Gretchen Smith, Flagler Health Department. Morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Welcome back. Bob Snyder.
Good morning, Flagler County.
And we've got some good news of what's happening and what's coming up and, what here for Flagler County. Lauren Johnston, always good to have you, our Parks and Rec Director for the City of Palm Coast.
Good morning, Dave. It's great to be here.
And properly introduced is Matt Morton, who is our City Manager for the City of Palm Coast. And we've got some good things. And we're also going to join the Doug Akins, who is the IT director, and about security and IT and hacking and all these kind of threats and things, and what's the city doing to keep our infrastructure safe, like water and sewer and all those things. So we got a lot to talk about today. Anyway, Dr. Bickle, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
All right. Good to have you with us here this morning. And one thing I wanted to, first of all, let's do our update, Gretchen, on what have we accomplished this week with vaccinations in Flagler County.
I'm going to hand it to Bob because I know that he is like busting at the seams and ready to talk about this.
Yeah, and I actually have some notes. Hi, everyone. We're real busy at the fairgrounds. Each of the last 2 weeks, we vaccinated close to 3,000 people, 700 each day. And we're expecting the same next week because our inventory of vaccines have increased from 800 a week for first doses to 1,600. And I think everyone knows the governor expanded, David, criteria for the people who will be getting vaccinated, right? More than just long-term care residents, healthcare workers, and those of us over the age of 65, but teachers and school district staff, law enforcement over the age of 50, firefighters. So we're working with all these groups to inoculate our law enforcement folks over the age of 50, firefighters, and we have a closed pod, point of distribution operation that's going to be set up just for teachers and school district staff on March 20th. At Flagler Palm Coast High School. So that's a closed pod for our teachers. So we are so glad that this is happening, the expansion of those getting vaccines.
So what are our latest numbers on Flagler County for how many people are getting COVID, how many are hospitalized, how many are dying, everything?
Well, the number of cases have been spiking the last couple of weeks. Hospitalizations, though, are down. Deaths remain at 92. I've stayed there this week at 92. Last week, our average daily cases was 27, and the week before it was 23. So we are seeing a spike, and I was going to ask Dr. Bickle if he could chime in, David, if you don't mind. We discussed last night what those reasons might be for these increase in cases. So
okay, well, he is our doctor on call.
Yes, he
Dr.
is.
Steve Bickle.
Dr. B.
I think it's mostly behavior. I think people are feeling like it's starting to, be in the past, less of a threat, or they're getting worn out from the precautions, and I think that's mostly it.
Yeah, I agree. We have had some outbreaks. We've had some school outbreaks at Belterre, 3rd and 4th grade. We've had an outbreak at Sable Palms that we're trying to manage with them, and at a migrant farm camp. So we have had a few little outbreaks here and there the last 2 to 3 weeks of cases. But yeah, I agree with Dr. B. We just got to be really vigilant, everyone. Now is not the time to be complacent about public health measures and not wearing masks. Look, we are so close. We are vaccinated so far in Flagler County, 25,467 people. We are ranked 8th out of 67 counties for the percent of our population vaccinated. We are doing great, comparatively speaking. So everyone, we got to hang in there a little bit longer. It's going to be a combination of getting folks vaccinated and that in combination with people who have recovered, from the cases, we're just building that special, I know we refer to it as herd immunity, but that's our goal.
Gretchen?
So this morning, we're actually, like right now, we're going to be testing at at 120 Airport Road, and then next week we're going to be testing on Tuesday afternoon from 1 to 3, and again on Friday afternoon from 1 to 3.
So people are still wanting to get tested as much as ever?
Yeah, but unfortunately, because we're doing so much vaccination now, vaccination is the priority for us.
Well, if somebody got a vaccination and they don't have any symptoms, they probably, why would you go get tested?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Dr. Bickle, how long does it take for that vaccination to kick in to make you bulletproof?
Well, the gold standard is like 2 weeks after your second dose of the 2-dose vaccines, but there's actually a pretty decent level of protection that starts like 10 to 12 days after your first dose. That's why that sort of fueled that argument about should we just delay second doses for people and focus on getting as many people as possible their first doses. But to get the full, lasting, high-level protection, it's considered people should be waiting until 2 weeks after their second shot.
In full violation of HIPAA laws, Matt Morton had COVID. How are you feeling?
I'm better. I'm feeling better. It's been a few months. It was actually the week of Thanksgiving. It was right after we did our grocery shopping and for Thanksgiving holiday, and I didn't use those groceries. I ended up giving a lot of them away because I was one of those ones I lost all my sense of smell and taste, and then the sensation. You hear people lose sensation, and what I mean was I usually use Listerine in the morning and gargle, and by the time you're ready to spit it out, your mouth's on fire. I couldn't feel a thing. Couldn't feel anything. Wow, it was very bizarre. I think I was very fortunate to have a mild case of COVID. I was home for a little while, and only 3 or 4 days where walking across the living room literally puts you out of breath. But it was serious. It's a serious. Like I heard someone say, it's like a tornado. Some people it hits and it really affects, and some people it kind of passes over, even though they're sick. And it was difficult. It was it was scary because you don't know what's going to come. You don't know what's happening the next day or the next day.
So, Dr. Bickle, should Matt Morton get a vaccine even though he's had it?
Absolutely, no question. And there's some people say wait 30 to 90 days. There's really no the only real true limitation is you shouldn't get it while you're still sick. So, as long as you're symptomatic, so that'd be more like 2 weeks. Anytime after that, you can. The protection for the vaccine is actually greater than after an infection for most people.
A long-term, go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, and I just want to say, and folks like Matt and others who, want to get the vaccine, I'm assuming you want to get the vaccine.
I was great to hear Dr. Bickle because I wasn't sure what the recommendation was. I'm really glad to hear that, and I will get the vaccine.
Let me add one other thing. If somebody got monoclonal antibodies to treat COVID, they should wait 90 days. But just a regular infection, it'd be really within 30 days.
So thanks to folks like Matt and city government, we are going to start transitioning everyone in the month of March and April into indoor locations because our Dr. Scott Rifkes, who's our Surgeon General, told us all on the phone. He says, you are going to be swimming in vaccines by the end of April. Swimming in vaccines. So we want to be ready. So besides the fairgrounds, we're going to be at churches. We're going to be at the Palm Coast Community Center, already Parkview, Santa Maria del Mar, Mother Ann Seton, First Baptist Calvary,
Mount Calvary
Baptist, Baptist Church in Bunnell. We got all these places lined up, everyone. We're getting organized and prepared to move indoors as well as outdoors at the fairgrounds.
Well,
so
because
we
don't want to be swimming outside during the rainy season.
Right, that is true.
I heard today, just coming in on ABC News, that a survey showed that those younger people, there's only a 50% of people, I think it was under 45, said they even plan to get one. Brian, are you going to get one?
Yeah, I'll plan to get one. I mean, I couldn't say no with Dr. Bickle on the phone, so
okay.
I will say yes.
So is that a concern?
Thank you, Brian.
Is that educational thing? Dr. Bickle didn't appreciate I felt like I was hit by a truck either, Gretchen.
I know.
So he
Neither
told me.
did Bob.
He goes, come on, Gretchen.
Sorry.
Jeez, we got people listening.
Sorry. I'm a little dramatic sometimes.
Honesty. Govern your honesty. Okay.
So we know, David, we're working. We've begun to work with with some of our minority groups in town, the African Cultural Society, the NAACP. We'll be working with other minority groups to just talk about vaccine hesitancy and try to understand the reasons why folks are not wanting to get vaccinated. The reasons are various, and so we want to tackle them each head on.
Lauren Johnson.
Education.
Lauren, you're hang out with the younger people. What's the word? What do they say? Are they gonna get it? Don't care? What's the word in that demo?
I'm one of those that, I want to protect myself and my family. I have, my grandparents are 82 years old, and I haven't seen them in a year, so I'd really like to see my grandparents again and let, my kids see their great-grandparents. So, I believe there's a big majority of us who want to make sure that we're protecting that older population.
Well, what do they say, though, when you're, hanging out at the bar about COVID vaccines come up, or does it?
Well, I'm not really hanging out at the bar, but, on the playground with my 3.5-year-old, we're, my mom group, we're making sure that we're staying safe and being out there.
Okay. Gretchen?
So this is interesting. So this week, talking to, some folks over the age of 65 and, asking them if they are getting vaccinated, there's a lot of people now who seem to be waiting for J&J. They're like, I don't want Moderna, I don't want Pfizer, I want J&J.
Dr. Bickle, does that surprise you?
A little bit, but it's hard. It's hard to interpret all this science, and so I think what's happening is there's been so much publicity about the reactions from the shots which really are annoying, but they're not even remotely health threatening in all but the rarest cases. So I think that's got people's attention. I think the J&J is going to turn out to be quite useful, but if I had a choice, I'd go for the Moderna or Pfizer. I think there also will be some people who absolutely refuse. They don't want the Pfizer. I mean, the J&J. They want the more effective ones. But it's quite effective for preventing severe disease, and it's one shot. People don't always come for the second shot. So if you compare one shot of J&J with one shot of Moderna, it's a closer comparison. I think it's going to be very useful. It's going to be doctors' offices could have it. The storage requirements aren't difficult. Small pharmacies, rural areas. So younger people who may be kind of somewhat ambivalent, vaccinated, one shot, less likely to get reactions, it might be more popular in that group. So I think it's going to have an important role, and definitely around the world it's going to have a huge role. I have a soundbite of a doctor from the Mayo Clinic. It's 60 seconds. I wanted Mark to play it, and then I want to get your comments from it, Dr. Bickle. So okay. Go ahead. Let's listen. It's 60 seconds. Go.
This is a disease, I think, that has a number of sort of mysteries involved compared to the usual respiratory virus. On the one hand, we see very severe but variable manifestations. We see a diminution of immunity over time. We're really seeing a number of reports of people who report long-term fatigue, headaches, vertigo, interestingly enough, difficulties with cognition, with cardiorespiratory fitness. And I think what we're going to find out is that a large portion, not all, but a large portion of that is likely to relate to the significant cellular level damage that this virus can cause. I think it's an argument for why we take this disease so seriously. People thinking, especially young people, mild disease, I might not even have any symptoms and I'm over it. Whoa, the data is suggesting otherwise. Evidences of myocardial damage, cardiomyopathy, arrhythmias, decreased ejection fractions, arrhythmias, if I didn't mention that one, pulmonary scarring and fibrosis. And then in the more acute phase, extending out for a month or two, has been this really interesting issue of coagulation abnormalities, which have been responsible for both small vessel and large vessel arterial and venous occlusion. So this can be a really wicked virus in some people. We're going to see more and more of the longer term consequences come out. And we're going to need to study those as vigorously as we did the acute symptoms, catalog them, understand them, and then clinical trials to figure out how best to treat them.
So we're starting to get long-term effects on it, even with younger people who felt like they didn't really have any, didn't really, but there could be long-term cardiac thing. Anyway, Dr. Bickle, so your comment on what the Mayo Clinic doctor had said.
Well, he's absolutely right. I mean, all the things he mentioned have been observed in many, many people. The estimates are that somewhere between 10 and 30% of people who've had COVID will have some degree of these, even if they had milder symptoms initially. So we're talking, let's say we had 50 to 100 million people infected in the U.S. We're looking at 5 to 10 million people with long COVID, maybe up to 30 million with some of these issues. The most prominent ones are fatigue, shortness of breath, body aches, post-exertional exaggerated fatigue, and then this brain fog. These things could be, quite significant. So just another reason why people should be seriously thinking about preventing themselves from getting infected at all. Okay. With vaccines.
So those that Bob, Gretchen, we're talking about, they're saying, hey, I'm just going to wait for the Johnson & Johnson one. There's nothing wrong with waiting for that. And how soon will we have those here in Flagler County?
Yeah, we have requested through Jonathan Lord. We requested to be one of those counties that get the J&J vaccine, and we weren't selected yet. 9 counties were selected, including Volusia, who got an allotment of J&J this week. So we're going to keep asking because we just want as many vaccines as possible.
Okay. All right. But everything's running smooth. And
yeah, it is.
People are getting them and no real adverse reactions?
No, we have had a small group of folks who get a reaction to the second shot. But as Dr. Bickle has told us all, this means that the vaccine is working and the immune system is responding. They complain about maybe a small fever, a little bit of fatigue, kind of feeling I just need to take a nap and rest, and a sore arm, which is typical. So that's really about it. And then it's gone like within hours. Okay.
I know at City Hall, Palm Coast City Hall, you guys it was real strict with the letting people. What's the protocol now for people visiting Palm Coast City Hall?
So the protocol hasn't changed at this point, and to our point of this conversation, we're still dealing with day-to-day serious impacts. I know a lot of folks are ready to be over COVID. I'm ready to be over COVID. Still the mask requirement, the temperature check requirement. I'll tell you, as of this week, I still have several employees. I have 2 that are seriously ill with COVID. And so, in our part, we're still going to continue to, as we do in all other areas, protect the public. I do our best to be responsible, protect the workforce. Without our workforce, we can't serve our community. And so it's the same that it's been. I know it's been a year. Where Jerry, as our Fire Chief Jerry Forte said, we're going to get to a point where we're at cruising altitude, and these become our new normal for now. And that's really where we're at. So all those protocols are still in effect. Wear a mask, distance, temperature check, but we're open for business.
Brian, what are you finding out? You're out and about. I mean, I was in the drugstore yesterday, and there was 2 people walking around without a mask. And
I see a lot of it. It's frustrating. I don't know what else to say about it. I mean, a lot of people, some people responded to a column I wrote a few weeks ago encouraging people to wear masks, and they're like, I'm not going to wear a mask because, it doesn't protect me. And there's still that mentality.
Yeah.
Well, and some people, though, they go, I mean, just like, I've had COVID, Matt's had COVID, and I've had a vaccination and everything, but I just still wear it in front of, in the public, just out of respect, because, we're going to walk around with a T-shirt saying, hey, I have it, I can't get it, can't give it, whatever, to the whole thing.
But if you had the vaccine, you can still give it. Well, so you still need to wear it.
Yeah, and I do.
I'm just saying. That's a good reason to still wear it.
I wear it just in fear that I may find Brian in the store someday and I don't have it on, and he'll...
I'll come and tackle you and put it on for you.
All right. Hey, we got to wrap up this section of the program. Dr. Bickle, this is National NMO Awareness Month. And just when you think you know everything out there that can get you... I've got a little story, but can you explain, or do you know what NMO is?
Barely. It's an autoimmune disease, affects the nervous system. Similar, although I'm sure these people don't want to be in the shadows of this, similar to multiple sclerosis or MS, in that a lot of the features are similar. The mechanism's different. It's a totally different disease, triggered by different immune mechanisms. Can be quite disabling. Affects the eyes. That's hence the part of the name is hence or neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorders. And
flows off his tongue everywhere.
I know.
Yeah.
You notice that? He hardly knows anything
but
about it.
the biggest challenge is like MS, it can cause progressive disability, recurrent attacks. Each time there's some residual damage to the nervous system that it leaves, and these people can really it has to be treated for years with immunosuppressives to try to control it. It's a tough illness.
Well, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Ashley Olson on, who at the age of 21 was leaving her mother's house with her baby in arms and just happened to walk through a spider web. And the spider bit her, and she has been totally blind from that one spider bite. And that's what she has is NMO. So we're going to talk with her and find out a little bit more about that. So gives Gretchen a chance to bone up on, what's the name of it again, Dr. Bickel?
Neuromyelitis optica spectrum disorders.
There you go, Gretchen. Okay. All right, we got to take a break and move on. Dr. Bickel, any final words for the weekend?
Just people keep an open mind about vaccines. I think we're going to find there's so many benefits on a population and individual level that I just urge people to keep an open mind about this. We're not over with this.
Okay. All right. Very good. Gretchen and Bob, you're going to hang around with us here?
Please, if we can. Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
Love to.
And we're going to come back. We're going to talk with our city manager, Matt Morton, also Lauren Johnson, who's been around town for some time, and also we're going to go out to City Hall, talk with Doug Aikens, the IT director for the city, and we're going to talk about cyber threats, things like that, and also we're going to trash talk coming up on Free for All Friday.
It'll save you a lot of money in the long run.
Save on paint.
Save on labor.
And saves you time.
All Benjamin Moore exterior paint's on sale now.
Come in, pick out your colors, and choose your painter.
You'll get more at Benjamin Moore. Corner of Old Kings and Utility Drive.
Palm Coast.
Dad, a man from Internal Revenue is here.
When the Internal Revenue Service comes after you, you need us. This is Bob from Flagler Tax Service. Audits, unpaid taxes, taxes for next year, haven't paid your taxes in a while, we can get you back on track. Flagler Tax Service, next to the Chicken Pantry, downtown Benel.
He said he knows you're here.
Call 793-7156.
I am so unlucky. 2 accidents in 1 year, and neither one was my fault. But my luck changed when I reached out to Cats and Green. My name is Carissa Amrine, and if you have really rotten luck like me, or if this is your first accident, give Cats and Green a call. I'm sure glad I did. Twice.
I'm Jeff Green. And I'm Paul Katz. We've been Flagler County's personal injury lawyers since 1988.
Our office, our only office, is in Palm Coast. Personal approach.
Professional results.
Thank you, Cats and Green.
Brian McMillan. And somebody... Oh, yeah. Thank you, by the way, for putting my name in the paper for wasn't a bad thing.
Yeah, we talked to Mark Maria.
Yeah.
No, Michael. Sorry, Michael Maria last week about ELS.
And we are going to, talk about... it was recycling. That was a fascinating program.
It was. It really was.
If you heard about it, like the inside of it. And basically what I learned is real quick, because it's going to tie in with the city, because I asked Matt, I go, hey, Flagler Beach is telling people don't put glass in anymore and don't put, what was the other?
Plastic, right?
Or cardboard.
He said they're only doing cardboard, paper, and
aluminum.
Tin.
Yeah, aluminum.
Yeah.
They don't have tin cans anymore.
Well,
okay. Anyway, because and this is what we learned. I want your comments on this, because what Waste Pro does is they do what they call single stream recycling. Right. So whatever you put, remember the old used to separate stuff. Now they just dump it all in. They compress it. It's all smashed. And glass is nothing but sand. There's no market for it. and in the glass, except for Brian's peanut butter jar, which he licks out.
It's
and
still
clean.
plastic.
But it's plastic.
Oh, it's plastic.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. You haven't bought peanut butter in a while, have you?
I guess not. So
He doesn't have 5 kids at home either.
all right, ragu. Let's go with ragu spaghetti sauce in there. So when this is all smashed together, single stream, it contaminates the whole load, and nobody buys it, and it goes to the dump anyway. So my whole thing is does it cost more money if, in other words, if we only need to really recycle what that's a market for, which would be aluminum and cardboard, because he says there's a big market for paper, but not if it's got, cheese on the pizza box lid. It's got to be clean. So he said direct mail junk is really good to recycle. They like that. So why, as it cost us more as taxpayers to have recycling picked up when in fact it goes to the dump anyway if it's contaminated? And if we would just separate aluminum and paper, and that's what the market is right now. So anyway, so that's, I don't understand. And we're looking at saving money with the city of Palm Coast. So there's my big question, Matt Morton.
The big question. So I'll try to unpack the multiple questions and the big question. We're still recycling here in Palm Coast. We do have single stream. We did a recycling audit with Waste Pro about a year ago. We traveled to their materials separation facility, also known as a MRF. Where they take these bundles and they unbundle, and it goes through both a mechanical and a human separation line to be bundled in terms of whatever recyclable materials I assume they have on order that week, whether it be paper or glass or aluminum, or if they had tin cans still, Brian, they do the tin cans, and then it's shipped off to whoever's going to recycle it, reprocess it, reuse it. We have been assured again by Waste Pro. We've not done another physical audit, but they are continuing to recycle through that single stream process. We did discuss, at the city council meeting a few weeks back, it is a commodities market, to your point, and the value or desire or demand for these products can go down. It can also go up. And so what we're doing currently is there's a trash survey online from the city. It's very simple, it's very short, but it's really asking some important questions about future garbage service and future recycling service. And it's really aimed at the council getting direct feedback from residents on what preferences are in terms of amounts of collection, once or twice a week. Right now, every week you can throw out your large goods, whether it be a couch or a refrigerator or, so there's questions. Do you want that every week? Would you be willing to go to once a month if it saved money? And so the aim really is to continue to deliver really good service, both in terms of residential waste collection and hopefully recycling as it continues. And I think we've heard a lot of folks say that market is coming back, will come back, but also do it, most importantly, in the most cost-effective manner possible. It's one of those, utility services. We all want our utilities, but we also want to know that we're paying the least amount possible for the service.
When Waste Pro, when they sell the recycling, does that come to the city, or that's what theirs is? They get to keep it?
Yeah, so we don't get any percentage back on what they do with the recycled materials.
Okay.
Yeah, you're seeing ostensibly currently in the existing contract as it is now, you're seeing that discount or reduction, whatever you want to call it, in terms of the price. It was negotiated when there was a market for recyclable materials, and they would sell them, and that was acknowledged in terms of a value exchange.
Okay, Brian.
So one thing that I've noticed as I was walking around my neighborhood the other day is you see things that don't belong in the recycling bins, and I think it's all done with the right, motivation. But like a Walmart plastic bag causes a lot more harm than good in your recycling bin. And when it goes through the sorting places, I've talked to Michael Maria before, those can clog up the machines, and they're not recyclable through normal processes. You have to take those to a big box store to recycle your grocery bags. So I think sometimes people just put everything, if it looks plasticky, I saw vinyl in a recycling bin. These things, you gotta, I think, so anyway, I think just if listeners can reevaluate, what are you putting in, make sure that it's really just the right things, that will help in the long term.
Mm-hmm. Bob Snyder.
Yeah, and to Brian's point, Matt, I was just going to ask you, so should we or should we not have so many people drink plastic, water in plastic bottles. Should we put that into recycle as well as glass or
Palm
not?
Coast has the best tasting water in the country. Come on.
I was going to say,
bottles?
if you feel like you need to drink bottled water, although we have better water,
I
better
live in
quality,
Flagler Beach.
and, and a
there you
cheaper price, and way cheaper price you're going to pay for any bottled water, and it's better water. Put them in the recycling bin, and ironically enough, put the cap on, screw that cap on, and they prefer to have that cap on those rinsed soda bottles. They prefer to have that cap on attached and on those water bottles. Put them in the recycling. And to Brian's point, part of the challenge we've experienced through COVID, and we announced this early on, we can always use more education. We can always use more engagement on what's recyclable, what's not, and that's something that always has to be continual. In fact, I always ask myself, I'm moving something out. Okay, is this recyclable? And I got to read or I got to look, because we want to eliminate the contamination, and we want to not put non-recyclable materials. The pizza boxes with the grease and the cheese those don't go in the recycle bin. And we want to make sure that it's as contaminant free as possible. And where I was going with this is early on, and still with COVID, if there appears to be Kleenexes or other medical waste or face masks, there's a likelihood that your recycle bin's going in the trash truck, because we're trying to cut down on it should anyway not be in there anyway, but protecting their workforce as well. And so it's been difficult on recycling this year.
Gretchen,
but, Bob I'm sorry. What is your name again? David. David mentioned the ragu spaghetti jar.
Yep.
What about that?
Rinse it out and put it in the recycling bin. Yeah,
but see, but they're saying don't put glass in because it contaminates and it gets crushed in.
So currently we are still going through single stream, and they are recycling and separating those materials down in their Ocala. They get bundled in Ocala, in New Smyrna Beach, bundled and shipped to Ocala. And so for us, and we just reconfirmed this week, our recycling program and methods are still in line with what we've been doing this last year. Could there very possibly be amendments to practices or what's preferred or not preferred or asked to be included or excluded from recycle bin as we go through this process? Absolutely, and I don't know what those things are, but for now, continue to recycle recyclable materials.
But clean it out. Make sure it's clean glass.
Yeah, that's the thing I had to learn too. They do. Please rinse out the spaghetti jars, rinse out the peanut butter jar. If you can, I don't know how you do that. That's difficult. That's a tough one. The cleaner the material, the more likelihood, to everyone's point, it's going to be recycled. It's going to be reused. It helps keep the costs down and helps keep the supply stream, the chain that uses this more willing to buy and reuse materials. Because, they all, like any other market, I'm sure, there's regional disparities. And there's some markets where people are really good, really experienced, really diligent. And there's areas where people aren't as diligent. Let's be one of those areas that if we're going to recycle, take the little bit of time. Let's do it right and keep Palm Coast green and beautiful. I mean,
back to drinking the Palm Coast, the city water. Honestly, I've talked to doctors, and they say you should be drinking tap water because bottled water is dead water. There's nothing in it. And there's minerals in the city water. And is there fluoride in city water? But I mean, that's a controversial thing. But it's no. Okay. No, but it's most people.
Like you've asked me, Brian's asked me that question before. It's very good water. It comes from, obviously it's buy local, be local, buy local. But you start at home with water, like they say, local honey. Eat local honey if you're gonna eat honey. And we just won more awards for water quality, taste, clarity. I know water in Florida can be a challenge because we have a lot of minerals, sulfur, and different things, but our water department does a phenomenal job in treating and delivering clean, safe drinking water. So
they do monitor the minerals and the good stuff that is in water that you wouldn't get from bottled water.
We monitor pH, and that's why you hear all the radio announcements. We tend to advertise through the radio on some of these announcements, and hey, this week, there's several times a year you'll do a temporary treatment and disinfection that's different than normal, and it's aimed at making sure all the lines are clean and contaminant free, and that it's very, as you can imagine, very robust, very labor and science involved process to continue to deliver top quality drinking water.
Okay, Bob Snyder.
Yeah, and we know that we have an award-winning public works and water management system in Palm Coast, and we know our water is good. But I do want to talk to you, Matt, you know this in the future about fluoride and adding that to our water. Not for today, but for the future. Palm Coast and Flagler County are amongst the largest in the state of Florida who do not have fluoride in their water, whereas 80% of all water, public water systems in the state of Florida do include fluoride. So we are the exception.
Yeah, and that's going to take a sales job to some people.
Oh, yes.
If they're
Oh, yes.
anti-mask, they're anti-fluoride.
Oh, yes. I've already met someone who is that we all know that has had that discussion with. Yes.
Actually, when I lived many years ago in Zephyr Hills, and I've told that story where a friend of mine we were all young, and he started the Zephyr Hills water. I was like laughing at him. I go, "Oh, you're selling bottled water? What are you, out of your mind? What's going to be bottled air next? And now he won't even take my phone calls. But the point of it is that it is an integral part of our community, water and sewer. And I wanted to bring in Doug Aikens right now. And Matt, hey, Doug, are you there?
I am.
Okay, so I want Matt Morton to introduce you and tell this community why you are such an important guy that most people probably have not and will not meet. So go ahead, Matt.
Well, Doug's best advice that he gives me every day is just restart. Just restart it before I come bug him, because I think I bug Doug a lot. But Doug is responsible for all of the IT infrastructure, information technology infrastructure. That's hardware and software that essentially runs the city. When we say run the city, not just the day-to-day business and the accounting and service delivery, but our communications, our fiber net, our internal servers, our data. They're responsible for all the physical assets and physical hardware. They're responsible for cybersecurity. If you've seen those traffic cameras around town that the sheriff loves to use, IT has a hand in making sure those are functioning and up to speed and running properly. If you've seen the traffic signal timing, IT right now actually is putting another agreement through to renew and alter a little bit our traffic software that does all the signal timing. So, they're really have a hand in almost everything we do, because technology is part of everything we do anymore. And Doug's been our IT director now for some time. He's built a phenomenal team under him. We're really lucky. I've worked all over the country, as you guys know, back to my home state of Florida, where I'm originally from. But Doug is absolutely an extraordinarily high caliber IT director who's got his hand on and pulse on the issues that are coming at us, and making sure that we modernize our city and continue to deliver these services effectively. And so with that, there's Doug Aikens. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
So, all right. Well, Mike, a question that I did have going back, if you remember, about the cybersecurity, and I think it was Oldsmar, somebody hacked into their water supply, and you hear about, the grid and all these, but with you, security of not just the information that the Palm Coast would have, but also our infrastructure. Should somebody hack into the water supply or the sewer supply, they can shut down everybody's lives like almost right away. So, so how real is stuff like that, and what do you do about it?
Sure. Well, it's very concerning, and I think what happened in Oldsmar really brought to light what security professionals have been saying for a long time, is that there's a lot of vulnerability surrounding a lot of these critical infrastructures throughout the country. And in Palm Coast, we take it seriously, and I believe we're in a good position, but we're looking to make it better. And we're looking to take our SCADA systems and all of our utility systems, isolate them to their own network to really prevent anyone from getting any access that shouldn't belong there. And that's something that's coming very soon.
Is the threat from, just local hacker club or some guy, or is it the Chinese? I mean, where does it come from?
I think you kind of get a little of both. You have the part-time basement hackers, and you have the national threat actors that are really trying to disrupt things. And though technology plays a part in it, really the greatest weakness we usually face is the people, and educating your employees, because usually vishing and phishing and people calling and trying to dig information out of people and get passwords and different things is usually your greatest point of weakness.
So go ahead, Bob.
Doug, to what extent are you concerned about domestic activity here in our own country?
Well, I think any activity is really a concern, but I think really more global would be a concern of mine. Okay. Either way, we want to make sure we're secure.
So the sewer plant, the water plant, it's all operated from a laptop somewhere?
Most of them, we have a few that are older and more analog, but a lot of ours are technology-based.
Okay, and is it a good thing? I mean, do you talk with other municipalities and you get together and talk about cyber threats and share notes, or is it everybody kind of on their own?
No, there's quite a few groups that really discuss these things. And Department of Homeland Security really has a lot of great resources that we take advantage of to help us in monitoring our systems and our networks and providing, different scans and giving us reports. So there really is a great network out there of support for these type of things.
Okay. All right. So are we in good shape? You sound like a real bright guy, and, you've got Matt is a big fan of yours, obviously, with that big introduction he gave you. Are we in good shape with IT and cybersecurity for the city of Palm Coast? What's your real feeling on it?
I do. I think we're in very good shape with cybersecurity. Obviously, you're never at 100%. You're never indefeatable, but we're working to get better. Like I said, with the SCADA network, we're trying to really lock that down and make that as secure as possible. But where we are today, current state, I feel good about.
Okay. All right. Great. Anything else? We got to move on, but anything else for Doug, Brian, or Matt? You guys?
No. Thanks a lot for what you do, Doug.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, by the way, this is National Employee Appreciation Day, not month. So if you're an employee, we appreciate you. Thank you, Doug.
Just for
Thank
today.
you.
That's right. Well, he's kind of one of our employees. We're taxpayers in the city, so there we go. All right. Okay, Doug. Okay, well, thanks a lot. We'll let you go and keep up the good work. Have a great weekend.
All right. Take care.
All right. Okay. That's interesting. You really don't. So many things behind the scenes in a municipality and people doing things that you don't, even think about.
Yeah, Doug is definitely amongst those folks who we consider to be essential workers in our community. Yeah. No doubt about it.
All right, well, here's somebody that does fun stuff. Lauren Johnston, you've been, quiet for most of the program, but this is your chance to tell us what's some fun stuff coming up here in Palm Coast and events. I know everything's been on hold. You guys were probably losing your mind without a whole lot of things, but we got stuff coming up, right?
Yes, we do. We're getting back into the swing of things. March usually kicks off our event season. For those people still wanting to come out and participate in the events, we have COVID safety plans for all of our events where we social distance, but movies in the park, Food Truck Tuesday. What's really cool about Food Truck Tuesday in March is we're going to be doing a fire truck pull. So you can sign up as a team to try and pull one of our fire trucks a certain distance. So yeah, we're getting into some kind of fun entertainment. And then one of our very popular events, Eggstravaganza, is coming back on March 27th. It's going to be very, very different this year. We're not going to do the traditional egg patch where all the kids run and try and get 20 eggs, but there'll be activities set up along the park for kids to be able to, like carnival-style activities and participate. So yeah, events are coming back.
All right, that's great. And the app. I like the Palm Coast Connect mobile app. So the schedule of events is on there.
Yes, we do have a link to our activities on Palm Coast Connect, and then also parksandrec.fun. You'll see an assortment of everything that's going on at the community center, the golf course. Summer camps are coming back open. We've actually already started summer camp, and we have people registered. So parents are on it.
Good. And participation looks good in spite of COVID for the signups?
Yes. Participation is growing. We're seeing that especially with our senior programs. People are coming back to their favorite programs at the community center. So it is growing, but we're making sure we're doing it safely.
All right. Awesome. All right. What kind of a job is this employee doing, Matt?
It being National Employee Appreciation Day, is that what you said? But just in general, again, and it's completely true. I have the privilege right now of working with with the finest executive team I've ever worked with, and across the board we have just fantastic employees, and the community should know that they're trust and their money is being very well spent. We gave Lauren an opportunity, about a year ago. She stepped up to the plate as our interim parks director. And I remember going to some folks after about 4 or 5 months and said, I don't have to have a search for a Parks and Rec director. We have that person in-house. And Lauren's been here a long time. She knows the community. She knows the people. First task was please go back out and build all the relationships that either were destroyed or didn't exist. She did that in short order and is community-focused, citizen-engaged. We keep throwing new projects at her and broadening the scope of responsibilities, met every challenge. The Parks and Rec staff, I think, does an outstanding job, not just in managing events, but in communications and, forward thinking. And they had a heavy load through the pandemic. They initially were on, that's what they do, fun, right? You do activities. They pivoted. They've continued to pivot and not only deliver projects and programs, but make sure we're in a good position moving forward. We got, of course, the Holland Park renovations wrapping up, adds a whole new line of service to our community. We've got parents now and moms that can bring their kids and grandparents that can bring their grandkids out. We're going to have a splash pad and a bunch of, more multi-generational amenity activities.
Are dads allowed also?
Dads are allowed.
Dads? Okay.
Dads are allowed.
Okay.
And it's just exciting, right? I mean, it's just a great time for our parks, for our trails, for our amenities, for our community engagement activities, for our business friendliness. I think Palm Coast is doing very well in that. And back to your point, that is because of the strength and commitment of some very talented folks we have working at the city.
So we'll give the approval for all the employees of the city of Palm Coast on...
You shouldn't have, David. You shouldn't have.
Why?
I mean, go so far as to ring that bell. That's a big deal.
It is.
We don't deserves it.
We don't ring it every week. However, next week, what I saw in the Observer of the what was his name? The kid, Daniel Bellin.
Daniel Belkin.
Belkin. So he's going to be on next week, and I'm going to challenge. Cool. He's going to challenge you to a spelling bee.
Oh boy!
Since you're a newspaper guy, you know how to spell everything, and I'm in radio, and we just say it right. But
so this is one of those you can't win or lose. You beat the 7th grader. You look bad. If you lose to him, you look even worse.
And then I'll have people complaining that I put you on the spot, right? But that'll be all
right.
We'll do that next
I'll
week.
start studying.
Yeah, we also Paul Renner will also be joining us next week, and also Mayor Linda P. and Susie Johnston, the outgoing mayor, ingoing mayor, will be on next week with that. So we'll have some fun.
Is there any relation?
Yes. My husband and Susie are second cousins.
Ah.
Okay. See, we learn all kinds of things here. All right. Very good. Hey, we got to start wrapping it up here. But Matt, I wanted you to, I know you have some other things here, and we can snag some sound bites for the news next week. Anything we didn't cover today.
Yeah, I always wonder what sound bite you're gonna snag. No, I think we covered it. I appreciate the opportunity to come on. We're always trying to find ways to, engage, communicate, listen, more importantly, to the community. Our community development department's been doing some charrettes over at the community center. I think today's the third day, and it wraps it up. They did small business, they did some building, and they did some, general. And the idea was, I think we have definitely crossed that threshold, and we are friendly. We are friendly to our residents. We're friendly to business. But we always want to get better. We're not just going to rest on the accomplishments that we've made in the last, year and a half. And so it was just listening and learning about our processes, whether you're a homeowner trying to get a building permit, or you're a homeowner trying to, have the city react to a concern you have, or whether you're a local business trying to get a building permit to expand or a tenant improvement. We continually want to know how we can do it better. And a great simple example was, we track permits by permit number. That's what we know. We need the number. Well, if you're a business owner or homeowner, you don't want to memorize a 13-digit number. Why can't you just call with your ad? I mean, sometimes we miss simple little things. And so there's just a simple example, but we want to continually improve, and we continue to do that across the city, in every area, whether it's parks, public works, utilities, community development, stormwater. We are trying to improve and meet the demands of our residents.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Matt Morton. And Brian, final words from you.
Well, I was going to say congratulations to Daniel Belkin, the spelling bee champ. Can't wait to meet you. But since I already talked about him, I want to congratulate Faith Hannah Lee. She is a 12th grader, homeschooled, and she won the statewide Voice of Democracy essay contest recently, sponsored by the VFW Post. So congratulations.
All right, very good. Lauren Johnston.
I did have one more soundbite for you, David. We are still going on for the Mayor's 90-90 Challenge, and we've got some new activities for March, Fitness on the Water at our Palm Coast Aquatic Center. You can paddle Long Creek with our staff, or join the mayor for her weekly walks from 4 to 5 at Waterfront Park each Wednesday. So conversations going on at the park on Wednesday from 4 to 5, but don't forget to log those miles.
Okay. Thank you, Lauren Johnston. And you've got about 30 seconds, Bob Snyder.
Yeah, just want to thank the mayor, Lauren and Matt. You all and your team and the city have been wonderful partners for public health, and we just appreciate you very much, especially the mayor's challenge. Let's keep moving. Let's stay healthy, eat right, and let's all get vaccinated, please.
Okay, and Gretchen Smith with your T-shirt. Go ahead, Bob. Read her T-shirt. What's it say?
It says, "Vaccines cause adults."
Okay.
That was a present from Dr. Bickle.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's why I'm wearing it today. But anyway, just want to wish everybody a great weekend. Stay safe, be smart, hang in there. You'll get vaccinated soon.
All right. Get out. Enjoy some of this awesome weather we have here, and how lucky we are to live in Palm Coast, Florida. For all those listening around the world, you can catch the Palm Coast Observer online at palmcoastobserver.com and read about Brian and everything and going on. So we have a lot of people listening, looking to move to this area.
We live in paradise.
Come on down. We got room for you. We got water. We got sewer, right? Okay.
We have the Flagler Radio mobile app.
All right. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe.